Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? It's your man 3K the Boss, aka Mr. Two Hands Up. Fah Fah. You already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? This, like I said, there is no structure because I ain't really into this shit no more. But I feel like, with a topic like this, considering what the topic is pertaining to, considering who the topic is involved, I feel like, what I'm saying, it's a must that I, give my fans my insight on it, how I feel about it, what I feel, how what I feel pertaining to the situation, and just just in general, my perspective on the whole shit. So you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna go ahead and lend my ear real quick on how I feel about this, and I'm just gonna get back to real life. So shout out to everybody, and anybody catching this on the playback, salute to all y'all. You know what I'm saying. So look, man, apparently Terrence Crawford is suing Bob Arum, and it's all about it's all about racial shit. Apparently he feels as though Bob Arum is racist. Apparently he feels as though Bob Arum didn't promote him the right way, didn't get him out there the right way, didn't necessarily put, the best footing forward when it comes to, African-American fighters. Well, you know what I'm saying? When I look at this whole situation, I must be quite frank and I must be honest with you guys. I've never held anything back. I've never bullshitted before. So let me go ahead and give it to you straight up. Dude, give it the fuck up. Get up off it. I don't want to hear it. What you on right now is some bullshit. You're literally, so if it's all about race, and if it's all racism, if Bob Arum is this big bad racist or whatever, this Yale or Harvard, this Yale or Harvard law graduate, who's a lawyer himself, who you are trying to take to court, who literally could drag you through litigation and literally bankrupt you. And I'm sure you're not getting this case on pro bono with a high profile lawyer, but that's not here nor there. I don't know who's in your corner. I don't know who's talking to you. I don't know who's telling you how you should be going about things, but I'm starting to feel like this is something about you being the age of 34. Your career is kind of passing you by right now. You only have a couple of years left in your prime, regardless of your fresh or whatever, but you wasted a lot of time pussyfooting. The whole world told you before you signed that second contract with Bob Arum, you should have left. Now, I'm not saying you should have went to PBC, dude. You could have went on your own route. You could have probably negotiated your own fights. You could have started promoting your own fighters. You had a legion of fighters. You could be a leader of men, and you don't even see it. One thing that I know about life is closed mouths don't get fed. And consistently, you have been known to have a closed mouth. Now, I find it funny that when you leave Bob Arum, and you're done with him after you just fought Sean Porter, that you have all of these things to say about Errol Spence. You're out in the water, you're calling his name, you're doing all this type of shit. And bro, I've took my whole life defending you. I've defended you at every freaking turn when it comes to the fighting aspect of boxing. But when it comes to, boxing and the way boxing works right now, let's get one thing straight. There is not one thing racist about Bob Arum's practice. Does he let his mouth go and say some loose shit every now and then? Absolutely. Is there some things that we can hold him accountable for? Like, being languid when it comes to the process of fighters and how they, the trajectory of their career moves when they start becoming more, more seasoned in the game? Absolutely. But one thing we do know about prospect, one thing we do know about Top Rank is they bring along, the amateurs, and they bring along the prospects in the game better than any other promotional fight in the business, any other promotional company in the business. So if it was a situation where it all boiled down to racism, it all boiled down to mistreatment, it all boiled down to how he treated you and how he didn't treat you, why would you re-sign with an individual, and why would you wait until you're done with this man to bring up these issues after you leave? I would be thinking right now that you would be focusing on, the trajectory of your career, what fights you're going to try to make, and how you're going to build yourself up. Because considering that you're an independent fighter right now, you would be you can't be the type of person that you are personality-wise, go out on your own, and just think that, things are going to happen and it's going to fall in your lap because you're talented. We don't exist in that era in boxing anymore. That's dead. The times of the Marvin Haglers of the world, the Sugar Ray Leonards of the world, the George Foremans of the world, the guys like that, when boxing really flourished, when it was really on par with competing with the NFL, NBA's viewership, shit, even European soccer's viewership, those days are dead. You exist in a world where boxing literally doesn't even have, the capabilities or the want or the need, because it isn't even financially savvy or beneficial in their when it comes to their practice, to even dump so much money into promoting fighters. They have a lot of fighters. If it came down to spending their money on promoting all of these freaking, talented fighters that everybody has on their stable, they would go broke. It would probably put them in the red, because boxing doesn't produce the type of numbers it produces anymore. We don't have that many Anthony Joshuas. We don't have that many Manny Pacquiaos. We damn sure ain't got no Floyd Mayweathers, and the only one Canelo Alvarez. So with that being said, what have you offered to boxing other than great boxing skill? You have never lended your personality. You have never been personable. You've never got out in front of things. You've honestly sat back and waited for people to do the job for you, when in boxing, you're supposed to exercise your, the talents that you have on your own to bring more food on your plate. Now, I can't consider a man racist who is giving you a $4 to $5 million bottom line when you aren't even selling any pay-per-views. You don't sell no pay-per-views. Yeah, you have high ESPN broadcasting viewership, but you don't sell no pay-per-views. And it recently just proved that. I mean, look, Sean Porter versus Terrence Crawford, it's a good fight, but it barely broke 180K from what I'm hearing. So at the end of the day, if this man is paying you $4 to $5 million on the bottom line, you got to contribute some of that to loyalty. And when I look at the careers of guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, let's talk about Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler worked with Bob Arum for a long period of time. And I mean, we're talking about the 80s, when racism was really prevalent and all of that shit. You couldn't, there was a lot of racism going on in boxing, but those dudes operated on a handshake. He never had a promotional pack or anything with Bob Arum. They specifically operated on a handshake. Let's look at the career of George Foreman. George Foreman is doing very well. Let's think of Tommy Hitman Hearns. Tommy Hitman Hearns was doing very well in his career. I mean, he made several millions of dollars. To be perfectly honest, Terrence, you've made a lot of money too. But the difference between those guys and you is they brought the viewership and they brought the personalities with it. You don't. You sit around mean mug at press conferences and just think because you're talented, that is just supposed to bring in a certain amount of money. It doesn't work like that. You have to give people something that's going to resonate with the souls, the spirits, and the minds of those in the boxing world, where they look at you and they're like, yo, that guy is different. Whether you're pissing them off or whether you're bringing joy to them, you got to do something. That's a part of being infamous, and that's a part of being famous. You have to bring something to the table that's different. And when I think about it and when I look at you, I'm like, what are you bringing to the table that's different? You are fucking, I swear to God, you are about as dry as a fucking towel. You know what I'm saying? When you're getting ready to go to a beach, my nigga, you about as dry as a fucking sponge when you leave it sitting by the fucking window on a sunny day after you get finished washing dishes, and you sit it up there for about 3 fucking days, and you go back and you can hit somebody in the head with that bitch, and it feels like a goddamn rock that you grab out of your goddamn blue chip driveway. Come on, let's be serious here. For you to sit up here and try to use this angle, it is completely frivolous. It makes no sense. I can't believe that you would even try to waste or expend your energy or waste your time even doing something like this right now. You're running around chasing ghosts instead of chasing greatness. It's stupid to me. It doesn't make any sense. And you're asking for damages of what, $10 million? So what is this, pain and suffering, my nigga? I do believe Bernie the boxer grabbed several of your Ring Magazine titles, several of your unified titles, your undisputed titles, and all of that shit, put it on display, went down the list of all of the fighters that you fought in the amateurs and things of that nature, and said specifically when you were sitting there recording them that you guys were chasing greatness. It ain't all about the money because you got it already. You guys said that you re-signed with Bob Arum based on loyalty. So whose fault is it that you didn't put business first and then you set your feelings to the side for such a bigot, for such a racist individual? And so for all of those people out there, if you believe this shit and you're going along with it for your disdain for Bob Arum, please don't do the dumb shit and be dismissive of the numbers, because if I'm looking at Terrence Crawford numbers, I swear to God, it'll make the toughest motherfucker cry. I swear to God, it'll make a fucking prostitute or a rich bitch look at you like, are you stupid? We eating good. I'm out this bitch buying Balenciaga. I'm eating at 5-star restaurants, Roof Chris steak in the evening. None of this shit says racism to me. Racism says if you know you're a marquee fighter and you're getting paid somewhere within the realms of 6 figures, you're buried underneath the fucking, you just buried in. Nobody even sees you, pay attention to you. You're completely invisible. And as a matter of fact, when it comes to promotion and when it comes to how you promote yourself, I would have to say, my nigga, you a hollow man, because you are completely invisible when you sitting at these press conferences. When it comes to you getting on the mic, my nigga, I swear to God, I could go to sleep. There has never been one time in history when I've watched a Terrence Crawford fight where I've ever thought about, yo, I definitely want to hear what this nigga's going to say after the fight is over, because you don't talk about shit. You don't say shit. You're not entertaining. What have you done outside of your boxing fights, you know what I'm saying, and knocking several people out who we commend you for, who a lot of us have you as pound for pound number one, pound for pound number two? What the hell have you done to say, you know what I'm saying? You know what? Let's pay attention to what the hell Terrence Crawford got going on outside of boxing. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You are boring as fuck. You are dry as fuck. Once again, my God, like, I would have more freaking fun. I swear to God, I would have more motherfucking fun washing dishes than listening to what the hell you gonna say at a press conference, because you don't say shit. Every individual that you get in the fucking ring with, you don't even talk. You don't even sell a fight. You just sit there, and then you sit there with this look on your face like the whole world owes you something. I can't make this up. So what case do you have for an individual who is getting paid, once again, a $4 to $5 million bottom line? Now, if he promised you the Errol Spence fight, hey, my nigga, you fell for it. If he promised you the Manny Pacquiao fight, hey, my nigga, you fell for it. At the end of the day, you can get all of these things. And here's the thing that people and boxers do not understand. You don't get this shit because you don't promote your shit and you don't put your best foot forward when it comes to your promotional value. So that's why nobody pays attention to you. You got to make yourself more personable, bro. You got to do the things that you were doing when you got out of the top rank contract. I find it funny now that you are putting more fucking energy into Errol Spence and you are putting more energy into other things than you ever put into it when you were at the helm of having such a machine like ESPN. Now, when Bob Arum says that he could have bought a Beverly Hills house, a Beverly Hills mansion, based on all of the money he's lost on you, absolutely, the motherfuckers invested about $20 million into you and probably got about a motherfucking penny, a penny with a hole in it and a goddamn lint back. He ain't got nothing but lint and a goddamn penny and a hole in it worth of fucking finances back off of all the money that he's invested in you. So what can I say to all of that? What can I say? What can I say? All I'm like, dude, this is going to make you look bad, dude. This is going to drag your career in places that you wanted to go. And dude, basically, you know, if you're never going to get the Errol Spence fight, let's forget it, because you're not willing to sacrifice, you know what I'm saying, a certain level of pay to go over there and beat a guy so you can go ahead and overwhelm all of his fan base and steal that shit from him and become great. Sometimes we have to sacrifice, you know, the finances in order to get the things that we want, the glowing popularity, to be in the spotlight, the ambiance, from being considered the best fighter in the world because you went out there and showed that. Sometimes you have to be dismissal of the struggles that come with boxing and have to embrace some of the hardships and some of the bullshit to go along with it to want to get over the hill. And another thing I'm going to say is this: I can never believe that a mother and doesn't have your best interest at heart. When I've seen several African-American individuals who wanted to stop doing business with him, he let them buy out their own contract. Floyd Mayweather, this goddamn Negro, was damn near stripped butt naked. Goddamn Jay Prince was ready to tear the fur off of this fucking Build-A-Bear, and this dude went to Bob Arum, couldn't even put the money himself. Bob Arum put the money up for him to get him out of trouble. What man does stuff like that if he doesn't care about you? I know what, a racist motherfucker would just let you go ahead and die to black on black crime. But in that situation, that was a white man saving them. And honestly, in your situation, you know, you can't take your numbers and go anywhere to any promotional outfit and make a case that you are worth more than probably $1 million to $2 million a fight. And I'm exaggerating there, because to be perfectly honest, Tank Davis and the things that he does at PBC, whether he fights once a year, he fights twice a year, he's doing more things than you. I mean, as far as numbers are concerned. Like, you're not a pay-per-view star. You should be a pay-per-view attraction. But what I'm saying is the traction in boxing, the climate in boxing, everything about boxing is completely different now. It is not what it used to be, where money used to just flow through the heavens and everybody in boxing could just go ahead and live and make freaking $50 million, $30 million, $20 million contracts based off gifts. It doesn't work like that. So when I sit back and look at what you're doing, bro, I kind of feel bad for you. I feel bad for you in a sense because you don't even know how much time you're wasting. You don't even know how much money you're wasting. And you don't know how much of your prime you're wasting. Bro, we got to think of this from a perspective where it's like, bro, I tell people all of the time, and nobody listens to me when I drop these gems. And I'm telling you, I'm dead and I'm gone from this shit. And people go back and look at some of my videos, and this isn't coming from a narcissistic perspective. This isn't coming from a toot my own horn perspective. This is coming from the perspective. I made a video called Heroes and Villains, and you take and you fighters take shit like this for granted. Somebody's got to be Batman, the other motherfuckers got to be the Riddler. Somebody's got to be Superman, and the other motherfuckers got to be Darkseid. Somebody's got to be Wolverine, and the other motherfuckers got to be Magneto. You see where I'm going from there? Because there's only one of you. It's not a team sport where all of you depend on one another and you guys sell the show. And in team sports, you don't have to be all of these other things, because that is how those sports work. But when it comes down to you and the spotlight is on you and it's solely focused on you, it is on you to sell. It is on you to be personable. It is on you to go out there and put your best foot forward. It is on you to hustle like a motherfucker. You got to put your Rick Ross, Port of Miami, everyday hustling type mask on. And you got to get to the bag. Nobody is going to get it for you. A promoter's job is to position you in the best place to get the best type of fights that you can possibly get. And a lot of times we exist in a world now where it is promotional wars. People have to hold on to their money. They have to do shrewd business, and they have to operate in a sense to where you think of it like the PBC. They're only going to operate in-house, because if you step outside of that, we just witnessed Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, not on one occasion, but two occasions. Their numbers didn't get better. They consistently got worse. They got worse. They went from 750K during had the biggest gate, but they couldn't even break even as far as pay-per-view numbers when they needed the 1.1 million so they could bring it home so both companies could benefit from that. So when you're looking at it from a co-promotional aspect, and we're talking about heavyweight boxing here, we're not talking about 147. 147 that has languid activity, 147 with guys who consistently make excuses, 147 with guys that aren't mixing it up, and 147 with guys with prima donna attitudes, with twinkles in their motherfucking eye, and I swear to God, ballerina pink type shoes on their feet with the way that they move. Because you tiptoe past one another and you act like you don't need one another, and that's why you get in one another's way. Now, am I accusing Terrence of these things? Absolutely not, because Terrence is willing to fight. But if you guys do not understand that somebody has to be willing to sacrifice something, you're never going to make anything of yourself in boxing. Floyd Mayweather even realized that. Dolomite salute, Andrew salute, Don't Ask Me salute, Gotti Line salute, Chris Price salute. Motherfuckers have got to understand, this is not the 80s anymore. This is not the early 90s anymore. I mean, shit. I mean, look at how freaking George Foreman is living right now. Who was the first motherfucker when George Foreman beat Michael? Who gave George Foreman the chance when nobody else really wanted to? Is an old man brought him back in the ring when he was damn near, what, 43 years old, 40-something plus, and he fought Michael Moore and he beat that man, knocked him out. Who was the first person in his corner giving him a hug when that motherfucker didn't even want nobody else in his corner? He let who in there? Bob Arum. Because he was thankful of the opportunity and he got a real bag out of the situation. You are in a situation in boxing where I tell people the finances have completely deflated. You are riding on 4 tires and half of them, and 2 of them bitches is flat right now. The consistency is no longer there when you talk about the purses. The consistency is no longer there when you talk about the talent. So that means the consistency isn't going to be there when you talk about the gate. The consistency isn't going to be there when you talk about the pay-per-views. The consistency isn't going to be there when you're talking about camera swinging and moving on this person or that person. Everybody is focused on their own agenda. So what is yours? What are you going to do? You're going to sue? You're going to sue. My nigga, come on, holler at me. This big dude say, you gonna sue? You gonna sue a guy that gave you what? $4 million for fighting who? Kevin Luskis? $4 million fighting who? Amir Khan? $4 million fighting who? Sean Porter? No, you got $6 million fighting Sean Porter. I mean, shit. Where the fuck is the racism? Now, am I gonna sit up there and say that there isn't racism in boxing? There definitely is, but not when it comes to him. Not when it comes to the business of him. Like, really, I feel as though fighters have been operating in a place to where they've got a lot more freedom than they've ever had in boxing. And honestly, you have to have the ability to use that shit. How is it that Floyd Mayweather got it? How is it that Adrian Broner understands it, but you just don't get it? You don't necessarily have to be Adrian Broner, but you have to be something. Because just like there are several people in my chat right now, there are several people in boxing right now who highly respect you. But the first thing the motherfuckers would say is, who is Terrence Crawford? What is Terrence Crawford about? What really motivates Terrence Crawford? What is Terrence Crawford's goals? What is Terrence Crawford's aspirations? Because truthfully speaking, we do not know. We don't know because we don't know a fucking thing about you, bro. You were closed off like a goddamn turtle who was fucking stuck in traffic, my dude. You were completely stuck in your own shell, 24/7, just spinning in the street every time you get hit by 55-mile-per-hour wind. We don't know. So that's why, and I mean, shit, I do believe that motherfucker sent you out to, he had you at Green Bay. He had you at Green Bay trying to promote you in that way. Bro, you got the ESPN machine. Fuck Top Rank. You had the ESPN machine. So why didn't you take advantage of those relationships with Joe Tessitore, with freaking Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith? I mean, shit, the list goes on and on and on and on with several individuals where you could have marketed yourself for free. How many times have you guys seen Terrence Bud Crawford on First Take? Anybody? You don't. How many times have you seen him on any of these shows on ESPN? Bro, you don't have to fucking wait for them to call you. You call them. It's called taking initiative. And that's the type of thing we need to see out of fighters if you want greatness. If you want a certain level of if you want a certain level of fighters, fans coming out, fan appreciation, if you want a certain level of financial appreciation, bro, you cannot blame the world for Manny Pacquiao. You cannot blame Bob Arum for goddamn Errol Spence. I understand that you wanted those fights. But those fights, dude, you're a deadly freaking fighter. And the only way a deadly fighter is going to position himself to get the biggest fights in the world, unless you smoke motherfuckers out, you have to be one or two things. You got to be Manny or you got to be monstrous. I think that you should embrace the fact that you're going to have to play a little bit of a bad guy. People already understand that you're a pit bull. Doesn't mean you have to be a classist individual. It doesn't mean you have to act uneducated. It doesn't mean you have to fucking default from what the culture of boxing and building yourself up to be a stand-up individual in front of the screen really is. Maybe you need to sit down with some people that promotional-wise can help you put you on equal footing with how you were supposed to respond in the media. Maybe you need to talk to some other people outside of the people that are around you that they can help you out. Because, bro, right now you just look like a fucking jackass. And that's just my personal take on it. I feel like you look like a jackass right now. I feel like, you know what I'm saying, you're not really understanding the repercussions or the potential repercussions for what your actions are. And I mean, those things are really going to trickle down in the way where, bro, like, okay, if you can't fight Errol Spence, the one thing that might be beneficial to you is a Bob Arum when he's more than willing to pay you a certain substantial amount of money to fight Josh Taylor. And look at it like this. Wherever there's restrictions, they're going to find a place where there is none, put that fight on pay-per-view. You're going to have all of the Scottish fans, all of the UK fans, all of the best boxing fans all around the world come out to see that fight. All of the best American boxing fans coming out to see that fight, and you could potentially make money. But the thing is, you know what I'm saying, we have to stop looking at opportunities and stop being so choosy, picking and choosing here, blaming your match with Kavaluskas and taking that match as reason why this and that is going on, when the whole world is looking at you like, bro, this is your case, this is your move, this is what you want to do with your time, this is how you're trying to use it as a 34-year-old man. Who told you this was the smart thing to do? A motherfucker who's licking fucking school bus windows on a short bus 24/7, banging his head up against the side of that motherfucker with a Down syndrome face? Who told you to do that? Because it wasn't necessarily smart. I just think that, you're wasting your time right now. And to just throw that whole racism, just to throw that R word out there it's so divisive in the sense of, you know, when you look at a man's money, when you look at where a man's really sitting right now, and you watch a man talk about, you know, they got the bag, you know, all you're doing is creating, you know what I'm saying, a cesspool of, you know, ignorant behavior. And then people are going to start to choose sides, and you're going to distort the fucking lines, and you're going to distort the, you know, the prominence that you can have in your career. You're going to distort all of that based on, you know, this level of so-called, you know, I'm sorry, this Tinkerbell level of bigotry that you see because somewhere somebody sprinkled fairy dust up your fucking nose and got you believing something is going on that really isn't. I don't know how a person cashes out millions of dollars in guarantees and don't even, you know what I'm saying, and the goddamn label can't even bring that freaking money back. Does anybody in here believe that Terrence Crawford has a fucking leg to stand on when it comes to this situation? Because I truly don't. And I think that if this really was that, you should have exercised this shit a long time ago. Don't go through 3 contracts, talk about you're loyal and this and that, and then you're ready to leave. Now you're crying the blues because really right now you look like a fucking crybaby. I'm going to be honest with you. And see, this is the shit that motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, people always going, I'm always going to be 100 with y'all when it comes to this shit. I don't give a fuck how much I got love for Terrence Crawford. I ain't holding no nigga hand when he sounds stupid as hell. I ain't holding no nigga hand when he sound like a goddamn crybaby. I'm definitely not holding nobody's hand when they creating divisive motherfucking, you know, when they throwing out divisive racial allegations at an individual who has paid this man multi-millions of dollars. It's stupid. And anybody that believes differently, hey, man, that's on you. You've got every right. This is America. You got every right to sue, you know, for whatever you feel as though, you know, is going on with you or whatever you feel like, you know, you came up short at. But, dude, where you come up short at 24/7 is, motherfucker, you don't have no personality. And the personality that you do have, the personality that we do see when you were entertaining Errol Spence back behind the stage and stuff like that, that shit generated a buzz that created a certain level of conversation in the boxing world where everybody wanted to see you fight Errol Spence. You got off of that. You jumped off of the gas. You don't start creating a level of energy in the boxing world, and then, you know what I'm saying, you let that shit go to the wayside. Once you get a certain level of promotional motherfucking leverage or promotional momentum, excuse me, and people are really fucking buying in to the shit that you're freaking selling them and the shit that you're saying, and you got people blood boiling, adrenaline pumping, and they really want to see you in the ring with a certain individual, you don't let up off the gas and say, hey, I'm never going to fight him. You don't sit up there and say, hey, if the fight's not going to be 50-50, I'm never going to fight him, regardless of whether I believe it's right or it's wrong or whatever. You don't let those things go to the wayside. You keep ridiculing the individual. You keep mashing on them. You keep letting them know how you really feel. You keep letting the boxing world know how you really feel. And then Fight Hype, Fight Hub, Boxing Social, goddamn IFL TV, goddamn the Snow Queen of LA. I don't give a fuck. Smelly Nutsack. Any one of these dudes roll up on you. You should be right in front of that motherfucking camera. Errol's a bitch. Manny's a bitch. I'm calling him out. I want the fight. You see me backstage. You see how I'm ripping them to shreds. They don't want the smoke. You got to do shit like that and continue to do shit like that. Not sit at a press conference and be like, can you repeat that again? Didn't you say the fighter that want to fight, to get the fight, to go get the fight and all of that stuff? If they really want to fight, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know where you're going with this, Terrence, but you know, today's a new day. Oh, yeah, you know, I know where you're going with this, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, I just want to let y'all know it's just me that's not stalling the fight. Bro, you ain't even speaking up when you do that. You got fucking Tom Brown right there. You're not even mashing on him when it comes to that. You got TB Promotions sitting right in front of you, basically admitting that Errol doing the ducking or not really wanting to fight or whatever, but you're not even, you know what I'm saying, pouring gasoline on that. No, in none of the situations where you ever have leverage have I ever seen gas poured on it. I'm sorry. In my opinion, you don't have a fucking case in the world. Sorry. Sorry if I disagree. Sorry if I don't agree with you. Pretty sure Bob hates everyone equally. Everybody. There's not a fighter on this fucking stable that somebody doesn't have some level of disdain, somebody isn't freaking disgruntled on some level, or somebody doesn't have some level of prolonged languid activity. Everybody has it. There isn't one individual in the world that doesn't suffer from, you know what I'm saying, some type of BS when it comes to Bob Arum shit. You gotta wait for him to freaking you probably gotta wait for this dude to wake up just to get an answer from him, at least, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to anything pertaining to your business. Because I guarantee the motherfucker sleep. I watched this motherfucker sleep goddamn Tyson Fury at the press conference, couldn't even answer a damn question. You're dealing with a 90-year-old man. You were dealing with a man in his 80s, 70s the whole time you were dealing with him in your career. Is he sharp? Yes, on some level when you want to compare him to other old individuals. But is he the sharpest tool in the shed right now? No. But there were other avenues that you could take if you were unhappy. And why have you not ever expressed this level of unhappiness? All you ever do is you sit there quiet time and time again and just act like, you know, see, this is the problem with people in boxing today. Even when individuals are right and they're truthful and they're honest, normally the truthful and honest individuals in boxing, when it comes to situations pertaining to other fighters, pertaining to promoters or whatever, they don't say shit. They just sit there and they let the narratives that are generated, that trickle down all the way to the YouTube boxing community, that trickle down to the Twitter community, that trickles down to, you know, every, you know, social media pundit that waves they shit up to YouTube, anybody, just anybody in the freaking social media atmosphere. You let these narratives trickle down to individuals where they're in fully control and they navigate and they control the narrative. And that's the problem. If you're not saying anything and you're letting people just go ahead and bash and mash on you with any type of freaking any idea that or any thought that comes to their head with any feeling or any vibe that they feel about a fighter, or if they're just indirectly, you know, just don't feel whatever you feel, you just go ahead and let that narrative be. Because in your heart and mind, you're confident with how you feel about yourself. That is cool, but you can't do that in the boxing world. You can't. You have got to let it be known 24/7 what your position is, what your stance is on something 24/7. I've told people several times, boxing is never going to be fair. Boxing is never going to operate where you should just be able to sit back and think shit is going to fall in your lap because you're a great fighter and you're just going to get what you're supposed to. If that was the case, it would have happened for Oscar De La Hoya like that. If that was the case, it would have happened for Felix Trinidad like that. If that was the case, it would have happened for Floyd Mayweather like that, Sugar Ray Leonard like that, Muhammad Ali like that. All of these individuals had to fight. They've had to fight with you exercising, you know what I'm saying, their mouths to speak up on injustice, speak up on when it comes to their opponent, speak up when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, media, go do shows and stuff like that. And this is in an era, in and out of eras when you had cell phones or you didn't have cell phones. Floyd had to transition from a time when you didn't have, you know, the social media aspect to the social media aspect. So for people like that who come from those eras, who basically have to make their rounds state by state, flight by flight, Madden bus by Madden bus, car by fucking car to get their point across, bro, you don't even have to use those things. All you got to do is sit in front of the camera and talk your shit, and you can't even do that. Who am I to feel sorry for here? It's nonsense. So if those individuals had to do it, what makes you any different from them? And honestly, their plights and their fights were 20 times harder. So at the end of the day, you have got to understand that it is never going to be fair. It's never going to be fair. But the one thing that you have working in your favor is the fact that, bro, you can basically do anything that you want to do other than murder somebody to get your point across in the boxing world. You can create chaos. Ask Ricardo Mayorga. You can create, you know, you can create characters. You can do outlandish things. You can do certain things that make you stand out. You can basically be whatever you want, say whatever you want, do whatever you want to a certain extent to ascend yourself or propel yourself in a higher status in the boxing world. And those things will work in your favor, bud. But if you don't do it, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to just sit back and be like, you know what I'm saying, poor Bud Crawford, you know, it was just a goddamn racism in 2015 to 2022 that just, you know, completely ruined his career? Absolutely not. It was the fact that he never said any fucking thing. That was the problem. Bud got a lot of easy money from fights from Arum. As Crawford requested. Is this how you replay a legendary promoter? My point exactly. I know the type of pay he has. I know the contractual bottom line. I know how much money, he was getting. So when I'm speaking from that aspect as a black man, I feel as though, I feel like you're a little ungrateful. Honestly. Now, does Bob Arum do everything great? No, he doesn't. No man does. But I guarantee you, do you think, does anybody here think that Terrence Crawford's career would be way better if he was over at Premier Boxing Champions right now? Would he be getting paid when he got paid? Absolutely not. Because Tank Davis, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, none of those individuals ever got paid on that level. It was always shit. Let's roll the dice. Roll the dice. Let's see what pay-per-view going to do for you. They didn't never have no guaranteed $4 million, $5 million pays. They had to get freaking $2 million pays just by fighting pay-per-views and things of that nature. It never worked in their favor to where it was just like, yo, we have the comfort of just knowing that we have talent here and we're going to get an excessive amount of a seven-figure bag. It's never worked out like that. So for Bud Crawford to sit up there and act like this is some type of social, racial injustice or some type of, assault against him and his team and to plight, his resume and things of that nature. No, it was never that, dude. It was just that you never did enough. And Bob Arum made that very clear. And I'm making that very clear because it was very obvious. And I understood fully what he was saying, while the rest of the world and those who really don't particularly care about, a level of competition, and they're using narratives and they're focusing on favorite fighters to use that against you. I took it for face value that, man, we pay this guy an excessive amount of money and he brings nothing back to us. But for the fact that he is a talented fighter, you know what I'm saying? It shows that there's a level of love there. Because if he didn't particularly care about you, bro, and all of the ways that you put him in the red, I mean, like, let's look at your last pay-per-view numbers. I mean, any promoter would be more than happy to let you go and just be like, shit, it's not like you're taking a loss. You were taking a loss the entirety of the time that he was there. So for me and my perspective, just so you guys, know that it's very clear, I don't agree with this at all. I think it makes him look foolish. I think more importantly, for as strong as Terrence Crawford is, he looks like a fucking crybaby. And what's the baby going to do? Nigga, get you some fucking tissue, nut the fuck up, nigga, take off that goddamn diaper and pull that fucking Tampax out your fucking ass, nigga, and put your jeans back on and conduct yourself like a man, like Bud. Nigga, if you got to go into and create some level of facade or whatever, or in some way the cameras, make you feel some type of way where you can't speak, maybe you just need to go into that little gifted bag, grab, something out of it and find a thing called personality. Huh? Stop looking like you got a Halloween face 24/7 and you scare every little kid in fucking Walmart. Cause you goddamn don't even look approachable. Like, I don't even think people want to take the time to do interviews with you. I mean, shit, look at Bud Crawford's interviews. They're boring as fuck. Tell me one Bud Crawford interview that you have actually got entertainment out of watching. Can somebody tell me? Has there ever been one? Anyone? Have you ever enjoyed watching a Bud Crawford interview? Is there one memorable Bud Crawford interview that you can go back in your memory bank and be like, yo, that shit is solidified. That is going to be in my mind forever. He don't have no Hakeem Rahman, Lennox Lewis, you know what I'm saying, at Sports Center. He don't have no goddamn Muhammad Ali and Howard Cosell. He don't have no goddamn Adrian Broner, you know what I'm saying, like Jim Lampley, shit like that. He don't have none of that shit. He don't have no Floyd Mayweather, Larry Merchant moments. He doesn't have just any moments that stand out pertaining to when it comes to his level of promoting himself, because that's another part of an interview, not only to get insight on who you are, but to promote yourself and to garner more eyes in the freaking casual world that you can possibly bring more tickets in, because at the end of the day, it's sports entertainment. It isn't about your feelings. It's not about your feelings, buddy. Like, yo, we don't care what you are in your personal life. In the boxing world, it is all about entertainment. And see, when several other individuals get it and you don't, shout out to James Toney because he got it. Why don't you get it? Clearly you don't mind being fucking hated, so make them hate you more. But make them hate you to the point where they want to spend money on your fucking boxing matches. Because clearly people just looking at your whole career like, you know what I'm saying, like you've just wasted and you've wasted an extensive amount of time. And now we're looking at you like we're looking past the Bud Crawfords. We're looking past the Keith Thurmans at this point. We're looking past these individuals. And I don't mean we're looking past them in a sense to where it's just like nobody cares about them. But we're looking at the Virgil Ortizes of the world come up. We're looking at the goddamn Boots Ennis of the world come up. We're looking at all of these kids that are just making strides in the boxing world, that are on their way to becoming world champions, who look phenomenal, who talk, who have the look, who have the smile, who have, you know what I'm saying, the conversation piece, who already want to do dynamic things in the sport. They want to do great things. So when we're not getting it from you, what are people going to do? They're not going to hesitate to get it somewhere else. They're not going to hesitate. And clearly, nobody is getting anything from you of substance that they can hold on to other than watching you knock somebody out in the ring. And I'm sorry, if boxing just consisted on making your money just all off knocking a person out and sensationalizing that, then shit, you would be the richest fighter in the world. But more goes into it than that. You have to sell the show. You have to sell the show. And for one, you have never sold it. So now you're trying to sell us some bullshit with some racial allegations against Bob fucking Arum. When I've just watched, you know, he's got more freaking black fighters than I can count. Who's the guy? Who's the guy that's underneath the Top Rank banner? I believe his name is Anthony Leonard or something like that. Is it Anthony Leonard? He's got like 14 fighters that he promotes under Top Rank, and 12 of them are African American. And he's never had one problem with Bob Arum. Like, people have to take a look at these things. I think even Terrence Crawford has to take a look at these things when he just jumps out the window and he just throws shit like this out there. You know, Terrence Crawford has always been making little splashes here and there about, you know, make little racial epitaphs and things like that. But it comes to the point now where it's just like, bro, okay, now this shit is just becoming to the point where it's just like, dude, you fucking sound like a complete jackass. I'm just done with it. Chin Smoke, what's Gutty? That guy, Andrew, Wizard Sleeve. Toby Bartlett, what's Gutty? James Jameson, Jeff, what's popping? Damian Wester, he's like, so you come back after letting a nigga run you off YouTube, and now you got all this black bashing for Bud. We don't know what that man going through. He don't want your sympathy. Y'all making money on him. I'm not giving Bud Crawford any sympathy. What sympathy am I supposed to give him? And who did I let run me off of YouTube? Nobody ran me off of YouTube. Like I said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to speak on important topics that I feel as though important. I'm just not going to make it a point to be on here every day. And honestly, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be here. If anybody ran me off of YouTube, so what are you listening for? If you want to cradle Bud Crawford and we don't know what he's going through, obviously we do if we have to follow his career. Obviously, we could take a look at the money he's made, what he's been doing with the entirety of his time, what he's been doing, you know, as far as interviews are concerned when it comes to, you know, promotional value and how you promote yourself. So if you want to be the dude that's got your head so suck up your fucking ass that you can smell your own fucking shit fucking running through your intestines, you can go ahead and do that. But I mean, whatever you saying to me, I mean, it don't hold no fucking water, because clearly you are sitting here. So if you're worried about what I'm doing or where I'm running to or what I'm talking about, I mean, obviously, that's your problem. Obviously, you're emotionally invested. You're emotionally invested, not myself. But I mean, go ahead and do what you do. Keep listening. Keep listening. Has Fury stopped running yet? I don't know. I didn't necessarily come here for Fury. I just came here, you know, because when it comes to Bud Crawford just speaking on, you know, his shortcomings and blaming the white man and all of those things, like I said, when you got a $4 million bottom line, that's something that I got to speak on, because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And of course, I'm going to have something to say about that, especially for an individual who I've championed for the entirety of, you know what I'm saying, my time on YouTube. It's not a good look for him. He's wasting his time. What is he going to do with that? What is he going to do with that? Like, you're 34 years old. What do you plan to do with that? What is that 10 million going to do for you? I thought you had it. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yo, when people do certain things or they make certain actions, man, it makes no fucking sense. That makes no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And for it to come from him, I'm extremely disappointed. I'm extremely disappointed because the numbers and the activity and all of the things that he's been doing, it just doesn't add up. I swear to God, man. And this is exactly why I'm not fucking with YouTube on the level that I'm fucking with YouTube, because niggas is super goofy on this shit. Terrence wants payday like white. Well, honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, Terrence, I can't say Terrence deserves a payday, you know, because Terrence been getting paid. Dillian White, he deserves the money that he's asking for simply because, you know, he's filled out the O2. He's been doing it since damn near 2017, 2018. He been filling out 20K. He been getting money. He's been getting, you know, I think shit. When he fought Povetkin the first time during the pandemic, they paid him $4 million. So, you know, with that being said, man, he's deserving of every fucking thing that, you know what I'm saying, he's asking for, especially for a guy with his 2 fights on United States soil, which, you know what I'm saying, is the biggest, you know, money market in boxing. You freaking didn't even sell 10,000 seats in a collective when it came to 2 fights. You fought fucking Otto Wallen and you fought goddamn Tom Schwartz. You couldn't even sell 10,000 seats. You fought Deontay Wilder. Y'all couldn't even sell out the Staples Center. Then you fight him again. Y'all did a record-breaking gate, but you couldn't even break even in pay-per-view sales. Then in the 3rd fight, you freaking tanked down the you sold significantly less. So when you look at all of those things, man, Dillian White is deserving of what he's getting paid. But that's what I came here for, the racial aspect. Everything else, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't really got no time for it. But everybody be blessed. As we always say at the end of the shit, it costs you nothing to pay a nigga no mind. All I can say is Terrence Crawford is, bro, find a better, you know what I'm saying? You should be focusing on who your next opponent's going to be, how you going to get yourself out there, and how you going to get these big fights. Because even in being, you know, how you moving right now as an independent agent, do you really want to tie yourself up like this? Do you really want your time tied up with a fucking, where did Bob go to school? Yale or Harvard? Bob went to school to where? Yale or Harvard? Yeah, get gone with your dusty ass. Where did Bob go to school? Yale or Harvard? Yeah, Harvard Law. So do you really want to waste your time? Do you really want to waste your time with an individual who could really drag you through the litigation progress until you literally fucking probably don't even have a dime to your name? Because I don't think people understand the type of money it takes to fight a fight like that and how frivolous, you know what I'm saying, this case really is. So, you know, Bob Arum got a lot of money to play with. I mean, his net worth is crazy. And I'm pretty sure his legal team is even crazier than that. So I'm just saying, I just don't want to see, you know, such a talented fighter, such a gifted fighter, one of my favorite fighters, number 1 on my pound for pound list, waste his time. Well, no, Usyk's number 1 on my pound for pound list, but, you know, Bud Crawford is right there too. I just don't want to see him waste his time like that. You know, honestly, he should be trying to position himself for the biggest fights that he possibly could get. Probably have a conversation with Eddie Hearn, see what Eddie Hearn can move for him on a fight-by-fight basis, and see what type of fights that he could put together. You know, even if that means, you know what I'm saying, trying to, take that WBO option and go to 154 and then fight for the titles after, you know, Brian Castano and Jamal Charlo are finished. Or, you know, if the 147 mission doesn't work out. But the thing is, you know, Bud Crawford can't afford to waste any of his prime right now. He can't afford to waste any of that. So, yeah, man, I just felt like, you know, when it came to that racial issue, especially the fact that I've been speaking up on, you know, racial issues all across the board, when it comes to, you know what I'm saying, like I can't speak on racial issues on other things and not speak up on racial issues when it comes to my own people. I just wanted to keep that level of balance and make sure, you know what I'm saying, y'all have my perspective when it comes to that. But back to scheduled programming. Everybody be easy. It's the motherfucking boss. Respect.